Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. Guess who's back? Back again. Maddie's back. Will this end? No, it won't, apparently. So yeah, I guess to address that right out the gates, yeah, there have been a few things that have been happening, particularly inside of the Pops Discord server, which I've stayed out of for the most part, but because they concern Maddie, inevitably, you know, everyone ends up getting dragged in some way or another. Not that I'm against getting dragged in myself. It's just, again, it was the case of like, oh wow, okay, so something is going down, because yeah, I was informed that that one of Maddie's friends joined that server specifically, actually searching for me, so it makes sense that I was involved. And obviously, just to let people know, like, when I'm in servers, I'm not always exceptionally active, because I have, you know, I'm at the server limit, and also just because in general, you know, the things that people are keeping up with aren't necessarily always what I'm doing, and, you know, vice versa. So, you know, it happens. So yeah, essentially, this friend came in asking, I think it was there was, well, like almost demanding, but not quite, you know, asking me to take down the video that I made on Maddie. Was it like 8 months ago or something now, basically, right before I came here, so more like 6 potentially, I'm not sure. It's been a while. And yeah, like, you know, I've been on the fence about continuing doing that, because like I obviously got to a certain point and then didn't even continue because there was so much and things were still constantly, you know, updating. So it kind of seemed like, oh well, I guess I will. You know, I'll leave it at part 1, see if the message sinks in, and then if not, we'll see where things leave off. And there was a period of time right after the video came out where, you know, one person who was actually a bit more informed on Maddie informed me that there were actually, instead of not the 7 channels that I thought that Maddie had, but in fact 20. And that same person has now updated me, saying that there are now 30 accounts, which is not super relevant. I just have the list just in case, you know, something pops up on one of them. I only referred to several of them just in case, you know, people were not in. I guess because they're not informed, like, who was who. Because, yeah, as it turns out, Maddie using alt accounts is going to come into play in a second, once again. So, yeah, this friend of Maddie's, basically, who, as far as I'm aware, is not an alt account, or was not an alt account because they left immediately afterwards, were also trying to gather context on exactly what had happened. Why they're doing that half a year after it was posted, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, allegedly, Maddie is going through some tough times or something, and then apparently someone discovered the video. I don't know, and that kind of like added to it. I have no idea if that's true or not. There's also somebody who mentioned who mentioned school particularly. Bear in mind that Maddie is 20 years old, or 21 potentially now. So I guess take that with a grain of salt as well. Depends. I'm not going to speculate on her, you know, like education, because obviously I work at a school where there are students of that age in a few classes, so it's not out of the question. But again, it's just a case of like, okay, all right, is that another thing? Or not? No idea. So, so yeah, that this person apparently, well, I mean, I think it might have been Bon who was the first person to jump on, and always Ghost Kitty, who said, well, have you watched the video? Because I mean, I would say the best way to gather context on why a video was made would be to consume said video. You know, obviously from my unbiased perspective as far as YouTube watch time goes, but regardless of that, you know, for anyone, it makes a lot of sense. This just kind of goes back to, does anyone remember the whole like Chibimation drama that happened a couple of years ago, I think, where it was where somebody on behalf of Illy talked about a person who had made a commentary on one of her videos, and even without seeing the video, approved of the idea of basically shadow deplatforming this creator for this particular video, without verifying if the video was, you know, anything about the video itself, not even bothering to watch it. Which, you know, still is a sour taste in my mouth, to be honest. And I guess the same thing as well, it hasn't happened to me. The same thing hasn't happened to me because the person immediately left, because it was very clear that they were not going to, you know, get people get behind them, on account of that the video, the people who were in the server have seen it, you know, because they are independent thinkers that are able to. Well, first of all, help me gather the evidence, but also, in general, can interpret it and can draw their own conclusions. Which is why a lot of them decided to distance themselves from Maddie in the first place. I didn't force them to do that, it's just a decision that they took on their own. So, aside from that, I guess that's somewhat relevant, because there was one person who left the server that Maddie, I think, was the head of, or was at least in, and that's when another account came to them and said, you know, why do the server? Just curious. Which, by the way, red flag right off the bat. You know, this is because I stopped using voices.com, because when you're going to try to cancel the subscription to them, they message you and they try to get you to talk to them or something. You know, right around the time they started using, they didn't clarify their terms and conditions for AI purposes, and everyone started leaving. It was like, oh, well, we're going to hold on to you. Red flag when that happens. If anything, that's more reason to stay out of the server in the first place. If people are going to be toxic enough to try and, you know, to message every person who leaves the server for whatever reason, then, you know, that's it's not a good environment to be in the first place. Regardless of who this particular account ended up being, the account in question was named SUT, which I think stands for Sweet Unicorn Tales. Or was it Sugar Unicorn Tales? I forget which one. Who claimed to be, you know, again, another concerned friend, who also reiterated that Maddie was going through a bunch of things. That was, you know, the excuse for whatever was going on now. And as it turns out, the same person, you know, the informant, confirmed that SUT, Sweet Unicorn Tales, whoever, is not, in fact, a friend of Maddie's, but actually an alt account run by Maddie herself. So she tried to get away with, I mean, I guess the whole, you know, just wondering is one of Maddie's catchphrases, basically. It's like, just wondering, why do you do this and whatever. Like, I got a lot of that from her at the time, from when I posted my first Walking Wednesday about her. Like, oh yeah, why do you call me a transphobe? Just wondering. It's like, well, watch the video, then you will wonder no more, obviously. And speaking of the video, yeah, going through drama in your life is not an excuse. There are people who are going through things, in general, myself included, which I have not divulged on camera, that and we do not allow the poor circumstances of our life to actually turn us to serve as an excuse to treat others poorly. I mean, if anything, you would think as a devout Christian, Maddie would understand that principle, given that you know, Jesus was born into poverty himself, and almost knew nothing but suffering across his life, and maintained his humble, you know, it is his humble essence throughout it. I don't mean to say that Maddie's in a dire financial situation. Again, I don't know what's happened in her case. It's just that that's example I provided because, again, it seems relevant given that's, you know, what her you know, big mentor figure in life, and once again seems to not be able to follow along with that. So, I don't know. So yeah, the video is staying up, that's for sure. I will take down the video once I actually, if and only if there is a compelling amount of evidence that Maddie is actually a changed person, has actually probably learned from what is, is going on, is not still just wondering, and potentially, also has issued a proper and sincere apology to everyone who is involved, and not just a case of trying to get people off the hook for her. Because yeah, again, there was when she said that she had that she was prepared to listen and to evolve and not be as transphobic anymore. That's when even recently there was a clip with her talk about me and say something like, oh well, he just doesn't like me because I don't like LGBTQT, which is not even the acronym itself. So yeah, clearly again has no idea what she's talking about. So yeah, clearly behind closed doors or behind, private streams or unlisted streams or whatever, nothing has changed, and therefore my video stands. If people want to know what's going on with Maddie, and if people distance themselves, it's because they actually are. It's not because I'm telling them to. It's because they are convinced by that particular video. And while I said that I'll wait to see what happens with if I decide to compile part 2 together, I still don't know if I am going to do that or if I should do that, on account of that it seems to have taken a massive toll on Eli, who, obviously is the owner of the Pops, franchise Discord server in the first place, where this stuff seemed to re-emerge, but also had been a long time friend of Maddie's in the first place. I mean, Maddie is Magic Pop from the Blues Pops, after all. So, those two go way back. And it is very difficult when when you're aware that one of your friends is actively, is actively antagonizing people who really can't handle it so well. Like, I can handle it, but there are others that can't. And many people should be, aware of how different people handle, different levels of scrutiny, I guess. But yeah, it seems to have been taking a toll, so I don't want to escalate the situation too much further, but I also don't want to pretend it's not happening. So that's why, be aware if you're in any servers with Maddie, you get messages from different accounts. Just let you know. And now we actively know that she has lied about Sweet Unicorn Tales. It sounds like Maddie's Dolls and Fairy Tales, her biggest channel, but whatever. So again, the more that she actually does, the more she digs a hole for herself. I almost said digging her own grave again, but we know what she thinks of that phrase. So I guess that's that. Moving on. What else has gone down this week? I had 2 other major things to talk about. I guess one of which literally just happened, because I just had class with the first year welding students, and it turns out that the teacher has approved of the idea of making a film project, but not only that, has also said that anyone who acts in the film will get a 10 if they do a good job with the acting, and that this is going to be count for a lot of their grade overall, which is fantastic, because obviously normally my activities aren't directly tied to the marks that someone gets aside from participation in class. So yeah, that's so I'm very excited about that. It does seem that once again I've now got a time frame of when that's supposed to be be given in, which I didn't say at the time was actually after I was supposed to have left. But yeah, hopefully, you know, as soon as I don't, you know, close the doors in my face whenever I show up, I will still be, I'll still be able to, you know, I guess we'll call it overtime, let's say. That also goes for the choir, because now I have an actual date for the concert, which I was immediately going to tell my landlady about, but then the class itself was like, oh, well, the date is, the submission is actually 5 days after that, which is around the same time that my cousin is getting married, but it does not conflict with it. So I'm hoping, I guess basically, if these two things are going forward, which would, you know, heavily, which would rely on my presence to some degree, then my new plan is to attempt to stay until the end of the school year, or as nearabouts. But I guess I won't be scheduled in for classes during that time, so it'll be a case of, okay, well, I'm attending for choir purposes and then also for other stuff, for the film project. They liked my pitch for it as well, because I did give them the option to do a different story if they wanted. The tutor did change my plan. I was going to assign them different roles, being like some people are script writers, some people are, you know, actors, directors, etc. He wants them all to be script writers, so that they can each contribute at the start to the story, which is going to be interesting, because now he's saying that, oh, well, if there are, you know, more than one story, if there's more than one story, then, you know, so we have to choose whichever one's the best after they'd already accepted a pitch for a story. But then again, this is something that I guess no one has actually done before, so there's not really a precedent for, I guess, how to go about it. Much like how I have not filmed down this path before, but I came down on Sunday, and look where we are. Fantastic display. So we'll see what happens, because again, it depends on like how long I'm actually even allowed to stay, and I would in theory be re-entering the country relatively quickly because of the time in Carlotta. So yeah, that's it'll be interesting, to say the least. My understanding is that once my study visa expires, it then goes to a tourist visa, and I just have the regular 90 days. That's my understanding right now. Now that I have a time frame, I guess I can look into that properly. Might have to, you know, just quickly leave and return or something like that. I don't really know. So yeah, again, there was one other thing. Oh yes, that's right. So there's another conversation I had with Bon, or I guess something that he brought up on stream, and it's an intriguing premise, I guess, because it turns out he talked about how because he's currently involved with like 4 different projects, so and obviously has to, you know, juggle between those ones. So how does that happen? Well, it turns out what he says is that he actually, I think I said he does like 2 scenes of one project, then goes to like another of a different one, and goes back and forth, which is similar to how I actually deal with writing books. Or at least used to, because I mean, I guess I laser focused on the one that I finished last month, until that was done. So, but yeah, normally because that was mainly a burnout technique. But I guess when you apply it to editing, what you end up with is yeah, that, you know, everything seems to move forward rather than having to, you know, bump one across the schedule or not. Which, to be honest, I'm actually thinking of doing myself. Because up until now, it's been a case of like, okay, I'll finish like this one big video project, then I'll go into the next one, the next one, the next one. Maybe I should just, you know, I should just, you know, have them in canon or something, and then, you know, work on one scene for one and, you know, another for another or something like that. That'd be nice, because I think I also have 4 projects that I'm currently trying to push out, let's say. I guess that would be the Mutant Girl, Sword on My Lawn, Weather Pops, potentially also Alphawitch Academy, and another thing that I have not properly announced yet. So I guess 5. And the thing I'm not announcing is the one that I'm prioritizing, because that's one scene away from being complete. So yeah, but look at that area there. Like how it just like goes from the branch growth into the actual building. That's where the park director lives. That's nice. Yeah. So I'm thinking like after that, I've got one scene of Mutant Girl to do. I believe at least, and then I guess compile that. But yeah, I can maybe save the compiling for later, and to move on to, you know, a scene or two of a different project, like Weather Pops, for example, because that was my order. Weather Pops is like number 3 at the moment, or number 4, I guess, if you count Sword on My Lawn. Sword on My Lawn might actually be bumped off, because actually, another thing that I found out relatively recently, not recently as in like, you know, within the past week, but it's something that I found on the Chibimation server. There is, in fact, a somewhat announced release date, or intended release date for Chibimation, because they're trying to pitch the actual game to, I guess, companies for, I presume, investing purposes. They didn't quite explicitly say, but that's my understanding. So yeah, so Bayo posted a couple of images of slides of the presentation, and one of them happened to be an intended release date. So there is, in fact, an intended release date for Chibimation now, which I'm not going to say what it is, because I'm not allowed to actively disclose that from the server. But now that I know what it is, I know what kind of time frame Sword on My Lawn has, and it is significantly further into the future than I originally thought. Possibly due to the prioritization of Chibi High, but yeah, I mean, beyond that, depending on how what I want to do is actually, when Chibi High comes out, despite the fact that I know I've gone into Roblox games a single time, check it out, see what it's like. If it's like Gacha Online, then it won't be a complete version. But if it's like a functional thing, maybe that'd be something to look into and to speed up a process, or at the very least have some preliminary designs for certain characters. But yeah, beyond that, I guess it will just be a case of audio and other stuff that I want to prepare for it. You know, really properly make this thing in advance. So I think that one might go down a bit on the list, and Weather Pops would become, you know, 3rd in that roster, which means I'll do 1 or 2 scenes of Weather Pops, and then I will potentially switch to Alphawitch Academy, and then while that's going on, and you know, collect lines for Mutant Girl, because that would also be a nice balance, I think. And yeah, I guess go with that. That sounds like a plan. It will depend, because obviously, you know, the summer is coming up, and that's when I'm actually away the most, depending on certain times and week frames. But we'll see. Maybe if I can speed a few things along, I can leave a couple of instructions behind when I am away, and someone else can help take that over if they are willing to do so. If not, then it'll just be a case of, you know, actually people enjoying their summer. You'll do a voice at a deadline of like, oh, I better have these before I'm back, or, you know, I guess the backups will be involved at that point. That would make sense. And thinking about it, I should have done that every other year that I've been away with friends, because usually whenever we're away in Carnotto, we're able to, you know, work that out. I'm still able to, you know, have my computer and stuff there, and we have the internet. Which, by the way, we're not on a. If you use the same thing, they updated their plans, so we're actually able to get better, you know, better data, so we're not having to actually, you know, to actually just not. Like, we're not restricted to 10 gigabytes a day or something for the whole family, which is the reason I didn't stream as much last year. Don't know how the signal will work. That's another matter altogether, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Lots of interesting things in this park. I think that's mainly it, to be honest, which is great, because I actually have to get back and continue to prepare some other things, because, you know, while preparing a pitch for a film project in welding class, and rehearsing for choir, which is also going to happen sometime soon, I've actually got a few other lessons that I still need to iron out, even for this week. In fact, there was another activity we did, which was, you know, role play involved as well, which apparently got critique after I left. So I improvised something for, you know, that other class. But yeah, I have a few other plans that I can use for the other groups. I just have to get back and finish them before choir rehearsal starts. And then the class will probably be right after that, because unfortunately, because there's actually apparently there's the theatre group inside of the school is actually putting on a performance at that time, but unfortunately I have class, so I can't go see it. So yeah, unfortunate timing, I guess. But yeah, these things happen, so I guess I better make my way back, because I realise now that I've actually I thought this was a path that would lead me back to the path I just came on, but as it turns out, it's not. It ends about there. So I'm gonna turn this way. Mostly the boardwalk's back home, which I guess I won't be seeing for an extra month potentially. Depends on how these things get planned out. I'm gonna have to ship my stuff through the post or something, probably. But yeah, much to do, and I get honestly, it's all pretty exciting. I like having that kind of structure. And once you know, June rolls around, if I don't have other lessons to attend, I can actually just focus on, you know, all of these things. And maybe use up some of that spare time to pick up some more Gallego as well, because that'd be nice, not to end up just being able to sing in the language after all this time that I've been here, and I keep on saying like, oh yeah, I'll get around to it. Yeah. All right, but yeah, time for me to head back because I'm in Portugal right now, so I've got a long journey, you know, a long journey to return to anyway. I just want to show off this location. This is really fun. It's a whole different castle to what I'm used to as well. On the other side of the river, in a different nation. Alright, for real now, please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters. Subscribe not already. Go show Eli some love as well. You know, she's definitely been through the ringers again. And on that note, until next time, farewell.